Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there? Or struggled to recall a name that used to come easily? For many people, moments like this become more common with age, and it often raises a quiet question in the back of the mind. Is this just normal aging, or is my brain trying to tell me something? Today, scientists and health experts are paying closer attention to how everyday habits may influence brain health over time. In fact, research continues to explore how simple lifestyle choices, including the foods we eat, may play a role in how our brains function as we grow older. Some nutrients help brain cells communicate. Others are studied for how they support circulation, protect cells from stress, or contribute to the structure of the brain itself. And here's the surprising part. Some of these nutrients may already be sitting in foods you see every day. Things like eggs, berries, fish, nuts, and even dark chocolate. But many people don't realize how these foods are being studied in connection with brain health, or why certain nutrients have become such a major topic in modern nutrition research. Before we dive in, I'm curious, have you ever noticed small changes in your memory or focus over the years? If this is something you've experienced, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. You're definitely not alone. And what researchers are discovering about the connection between food, the gut, and the brain might change the way you look at your daily meals. Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there? Or tried to remember a familiar name that just wouldn't come to mind? Moments like that can feel surprisingly unsettling. For many people, especially as the years pass, small memory slips start to raise quiet questions. Is this just normal aging? Is it stress? Or is the brain simply changing over time in ways we don't fully understand yet? Across the world, scientists and public health experts are paying closer attention to these questions. As people live longer than ever before, the conversation about brain health is becoming more important. Researchers are increasingly exploring how everyday habits, including sleep, physical activity, mental engagement, and especially nutrition, may influence how the brain functions as we age. The truth is, the brain is an incredibly active and complex organ. Even when we're resting, billions of nerve cells are constantly sending signals to each other, forming the networks that allow us to remember faces, focus on conversations, learn new skills, and make sense of the world around us. And for those signals to travel smoothly, the brain relies on certain nutrients that many people don't often think about during their daily meals. One of those nutrients is called choline. It doesn't always get the same attention as vitamins like C or D, yet scientists have studied it for decades because of the role it plays inside the brain. Choline helps the body produce a chemical messenger known as acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in communication between brain cells. You can imagine these neurotransmitters as tiny messengers moving information through the brain's vast network of connections. When you recall a memory, follow a conversation, or process new information, these communication pathways are constantly active. Foods like eggs are often discussed in nutrition research because they contain choline, along with several other nutrients that contribute to overall health. In recent years, researchers have continued exploring how different nutrients may support normal brain function and how diet patterns might influence cognitive wellness over time. But choline is only one piece of a much larger picture. Another area that has attracted growing scientific interest involves compounds known as antioxidants. These natural substances are found in many plant-based foods, and they're often studied because they help the body manage something called oxidative stress, a process that occurs naturally as cells produce energy. Over time, oxidative stress can affect different tissues in the body, including those in the brain. That's why many nutrition researchers are curious about foods that contain high levels of antioxidant compounds. Take dark chocolate, for example. It might sound surprising, but dark chocolate contains plant compounds called flavonoids. These flavonoids are being studied for their potential relationship with circulation and cellular health. Some research has explored how these compounds interact with blood vessels and how they may relate to overall brain activity. Berries have also drawn attention in this area of research. Fruits like blueberries contain pigments called anthocyanins. the natural compounds that give them their deep color. These compounds are widely studied for their antioxidant properties, and scientists continue to investigate how they interact with different biological systems in the body. Of course, brain health isn't only about antioxidants. Another nutrient group that researchers frequently discuss is omega-3 fatty acids. Unlike some nutrients that simply circulate in the bloodstream, omega-3 fats are actually incorporated into the structure of cells themselves, including brain cells. One particular omega-3 fat, called DHA, is considered an important component of brain cell membranes. These membranes help maintain the structure of neurons and support the way cells communicate with one another. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, and mackerel are often highlighted in nutrition studies because they naturally contain these omega-3 fatty acids. For many years, scientists have been examining how dietary patterns that include these nutrients may relate to long-term cognitive health. What's interesting is that conversations about brain health are now expanding even further, beyond the brain itself. In recent years, researchers have begun paying closer attention to something known as the gut-brain connection. At first, the idea might seem unusual. After all, the digestive system and the brain appear to be completely different parts of the body, but modern research suggests they may communicate more than previously thought. Inside the digestive tract lives a vast community of microorganisms, often referred to as the gut microbiome. These microbes help break down food, produce certain compounds, and interact with various biological systems. Scientists are now exploring how signals from the gut may influence different aspects of health, including inflammation, metabolism, and even communication pathways connected to the brain. Foods that contain dietary fiber, such as beans, lentils, and other plant-based ingredients, are often studied because fiber helps nourish beneficial gut bacteria. These bacteria, in turn, produce compounds that researchers believe may interact with multiple systems throughout the body. This growing interest in the gut-brain connection has sparked an entirely new area of nutrition science, one that continues to evolve as researchers uncover more about how different systems in the body work together. And when scientists step back and look at the bigger picture, they often focus not on a single food, but on overall dietary patterns. For example, the Mediterranean-style way of eating has been studied for many years. This pattern typically includes foods like olive oil, nuts, vegetables, fruits, legumes, fish, and whole grains. Rather than relying on one superfood, it emphasizes variety, balance, and long-term consistency. Olive oil, in particular, has attracted attention because it contains plant compounds called polyphenols. Nuts, such as walnuts and almonds, provide healthy fats and naturally occurring antioxidants. Berries and other fruits contribute additional plant compounds that researchers continue to study. Together, these foods create a broader dietary pattern that scientists often examine when exploring connections between nutrition and healthy aging. At the same time, another fascinating area of research has begun gaining public attention: the study of functional foods and naturally occurring compounds that may interact with biological processes. One example that has generated curiosity in recent years is a mushroom known as lion's mane. Certain compounds found in this mushroom have been studied in laboratory settings for their relationship with nerve growth factors, which are proteins involved in the maintenance and survival of neurons. It's important to note that research in this area is still developing. Scientists continue to investigate these compounds to better understand their biological effects. Still, the growing interest in functional foods reflects a broader trend in health research: the idea that everyday foods may contain complex compounds worth studying more closely. And perhaps that's one of the most important ideas emerging from modern nutrition science. Rather than searching for quick fixes or miracle ingredients, researchers increasingly emphasize the value of long-term habits, the small choices repeated day after day that shape our overall health. Things like balanced meals, regular physical activity, good sleep, mental stimulation, and social connection all contribute to a much larger picture of well-being. The brain, after all, is deeply connected to everything else happening in the body. Circulation, metabolism, inflammation, and even digestive health can all influence how different systems function together. That's why many experts encourage people to think about brain health not as a single action or single food, but as a lifelong pattern of choices that support the body as a whole. And for many viewers, simply understanding how these pieces connect can be both fascinating and reassuring. Because while aging is a natural process, learning how the body works and how daily habits interact with that process can help people feel more informed and more confident about their long-term health. Now, I'd really like to hear from you. Have you ever noticed small changes in your memory or focus over time? Or have you started paying more attention to the foods and habits that support your overall well-being? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences often help others realize they're not alone in thinking about these questions. And if you found this discussion helpful or interesting, consider liking the video and sharing it with someone who might appreciate learning more about how everyday habits connect with long-term health. Because as research continues to evolve, scientists are still uncovering new insights about the brain, nutrition, and aging. And some of the discoveries being explored right now may open entirely new conversations about how we care for our health in the years ahead.